Most of us can relate to this macro trend. We could have called it time stress, time starvation, time poverty, even velocity of life. But we'll call it time sensitivity. Now, for the sake of this conversation, time sensitivity is defined as the idea, real or perceived, that more demands than ever before are being placed in our time. Now, it's important to note that there are just as many hours in a day today as there were 100 years ago. So it's not like we have less time. It's just that we're packing more and more into that time. And with so many things screaming for our attention, we tend to become more protective of our schedules and seek any resources we can find that might help us manage that time. Let's look at just some of the causes and effects for time sensitivity. Not a complete list by any stretch, but it'll give you a few ideas. If you have children in the household, that can put you under some time pressure, or if you're caring for aging parents. If you live in a two-income household where both heads of household are working outside the home, or if you're a single-parent household. Increased demands at the workplace can add to your time stress, as can social conditioning, or you might call this peer pressure. Stop and think about this. Keeping up with the Joneses no longer means just going shopping for a new car because you see that the neighbors have one parked in their driveway next door. Keeping up with the Joneses means, how do we keep up with the pace that we see those around us maintaining? There's lots of other self-imposed obligations. If you belong to a religious organization or clubs or community groups, we participate in a lot, and a lot of it is by choice. That's one of the reasons we don't call time sensitivity time starvation or poverty. A lot of it is self-imposed. Now let's cover just some of the effects of time sensitivity. The 3 F's: fatigue, frustration, forgetfulness, for starters. But we also live with what I refer to as a struggle for balance. When we're at work, we're thinking of our family, and often when we're with our family, we're thinking about something we needed to get done at the office. Trend author and a speaker at a past CSS event, Michael Chong, put it this way: our state of mind is now a state of time. When somebody asks you, how are you doing today? Your answer is often, wow, I am really busy. You express your well-being in terms of how busy you are. We spend a lot of time looking for shortcuts and workarounds, and we're going through a lot of stress, guilt, and anxiety, and something we'll call hourglassing. You know how a computer can lock up if you give it too many commands to think about at one time? Well, humans can do that too. We just get to the point where we need to sit down, grab a cup of coffee or a soft drink, and reboot for a few minutes. Those are some of the general attributes associated with time sensitivity. Now let's look at some of the micro trends that seem to fit hand in hand, starting with flexi-dining. Meals are losing their fixed position status for more and more people. You're less likely to have lunch right at noon or dinner right at 6. Instead, you eat when you're hungry. For many of us, meals have become the last appointment we schedule and the first appointment we cancel, if that's what it takes to manage the rest of our busy schedule. Now, it's not all fast food, but more food is faster. Use of quick-service restaurants is up, and to compete with those QSRs, a lot of sit-down restaurants like Applebee's or Chili's are providing curbside delivery options. Also, heat-to-complete or grab-and-go options continue to grow at the supermarket. We're consuming more microwavable foods, more frozen quick-fix meals, meals from the deli, and so on. And we're choosing more incremental meal solutions, meaning we're making smaller but more frequent trips to the grocery store. We're a little less inclined than we used to make that one big traditional supermarket excursion every week or every month, and more likely to have frequent fill-in visits where we just stop in and grab an item or two. It makes perfect sense. Think about a typical week at your house. Monday, she works late. Tuesday, he works late. Wednesday, the kids have something going on at school. Thursday is going to be our first evening at home as a family to have dinner. And it doesn't strike anyone until about 4:30 that afternoon, when somebody says, oh my gosh, we're all going to be home tonight, what are we going to fix for dinner? So one of you heads for the supermarket, not with the idea of stocking up on groceries, but just with the idea of solving Thursday. This is a relatively new and growing shopping mentality, and as a result, convenience stores and other small-format neighborhood stores are taking at least some of the time and money we used to spend at the supermarket. Another micro-trend, this one very simple, shifting purchase priorities. In a lot of categories, we're more interested in saving time than money. In other words, don't drone on and on about how you can save the consumer 10% when what they might really want is just a way of saving 10 minutes. Do you offer pickup or delivery? Do you have a drive-through so I don't have to come into the store? Can I place my order online? You know, for many of us, buying online is no longer a novelty. It's a utility. We use the net to research major purchases like cars, healthcare, homes, investments, and we'll even pull the trigger on some of those items, but we'll also use the net to automate smaller or more frequent purchases, like airline tickets or other travel, event tickets, movie tickets, books, etc. Think about that. This tendency can abbreviate or even eliminate the face time that retailers used to get with their prospects and compress the buying cycle in a wide variety of purchases. Another micro-trend, merchandising. Choosing bundled packages to make a purchase process easier. Now, we've all done this in one way or another. It might be in purchasing bundled software or ordering a combo meal rather than the individual components of a meal when you go to a fast food restaurant. Or it could look like this. We saw this display at the FMI show in Chicago. It makes a lot of sense. It's a merged display. So you don't have to go to the flower shop for flowers and then the wine shop for a nice bottle of wine and then the candy store for a box of chocolates. With one stop at this merged display, you don't purchase wine, flowers, and candy. You purchase a romantic Friday evening. This is something that makes life easy and saves the consumer at least a few steps, if not a few stops.